You're listening to SM Media, the #1 place for exclusive content.
Hi everyone and welcome to part 3 of our West of Scotland Premier Division season preview. I'm Scott McPike, delighted to be your host as always, joined by Shankers. Shankers, how are we doing?
Yeah, I'm good, Scott. How are you?
Not bad. Lochlin, Highet's here as well. Lochlin, how are we?
Aye, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right.
Brilliant. We're going to take a look at today's episode, Glenafton, Darvel, Troon and Cumbernauld United. Shankers, how are we feeling about some of these teams?
Aye, we've had a lot of history with Glenafton before, Scottish Cups and leagues, so it'll be interesting. New faces with Darvel in the league as well, who are certainly not going up promotion quietly. They're wanting to do things and do it big and fair play to them. So it's going to be an interesting season with them involved as well.
Lochlin, who out of these teams are catching your eye going into the season?
It's got to be Darvel, I suppose, isn't it? They're kind of grabbing all the headlines. It's me that's writing them, right enough. No, they're kind of looking good. Obviously, we'll dig more into that. But Glenafton as well, you know, they're a good team.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to start off by looking at Glenafton. We'll start off with Glenafton. Shankers, a new rebuilt team. Obviously, a lot of their team left last season to go elsewhere. Do you think this new team's going to be able to click, and do you think they're going to challenge?
As you said, it's almost a fresh start with Glenafton, but it's some familiar faces. It's there with 2 ex-players in Brian McGarrity and Mick McCann, and 2 players that have been successful there before, so they'll be looking to bring success again. And it's going to be tough as Glenafton lost a few players when Southie went to Cardiff, but Mick and Brian's managed to attract a few of them back to the club. So I think with the mix of the players that have been there and almost done it with Glenafton, winning leagues and Scottish Cups, mixing with the new young players that they've signed, I think it'll be a good blend and a good mix. And I fancy Glenafton to do well. It's a tough place to go up there at New Cumbernauld at the best of times, and some of these young players will be young and hungry and almost want to prove a point and kind of moving for youth football and maybe a wee loan here or there right into a top side like Glenafton. So they'll definitely be up there this season, and it'll be a difficult place to go, that's for sure.
Definitely. Lochlin, what's your thoughts on Glenafton this season?
It's a tough one because losing Craig McEwen, obviously he was a great manager and did a lot of great things at Glenafton, so it just kind of depends how the new management team click. You know, I don't think they've had much management experience before, so it just kind of depends how these guys get on. I think it's going to be a tough season for Glenafton, to be honest. I think they're kind of going to be mid-table, possibly, looking at this, because when you go back to possibly 8 teams going down out of 20, you know, there's every chance they could come, you know, 12th or 13th if they don't get a good start. So I think it all comes down to how they kind of click straight away with these new boys. And I don't know, I kind of think they might struggle. I don't know. That's
the thing with the 8 teams, like the likes of Brian and Mick in the first seasons. Say it was a normal season of 3, go down and you say you're going to finish mid-table 12th, 13th place, and you're like, first season we'll be happy with that and build on. But some teams can't afford that this season with the amount of teams that's going down, so it is going to be difficult for a lot of teams.
Yeah, definitely. We spoke to assistant manager Brian McGarrity about the upcoming season for Glenafton. So I'm joined by Glenafton's assistant manager Brian McGarrity. Brian, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on at last.
Hi.
How are we? All right?
I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Aye, good, mate. How are you feeling for the new season? It's been a lot of changes at Glenafton. How are you feeling about the new season?
Anticipation more than anything. You want to see how it goes when you get into the nitty-gritty. Obviously, a bit of the unknown with what's been happening in the past wee while. I suppose everybody's going to be in the same boat. not sure where they're at. Obviously, strange circumstances with us. We didn't have much of we had no squad, to be honest, when Michael took over the job in February. So it's been busy, and we're waiting anticipation to get started now, see how it goes.
Brilliant. How are you feeling about giving up the gloves and into the coaching side?
It's probably still sinking in a wee bit. It was it's a bit different being in the opposite side of the changing room, like trying to have that balance for the players, because obviously I've played with quite a few of them.
Aye.
The boys we've got, and I'm good friends with them, and that relationship there. It's a weird one, but I'm slowly transitioning.
Brilliant. You mentioned there about there was hardly any players. What players you brought in this summer, and what's the kind of rebuild been like?
It's been tough. So luckily enough, me and Michael, we're good mates, and we work together as well.
Aye.
So we're quite lucky in that aspect. I'll probably get into trouble, but we're talking quite frequently at work. And it's been daily since February, trying to get boys in, because look, most managers will understand how hard it is to get players in, let alone a full squad, which we had no players at all. Obviously, the Glens released everybody when they pulled out the league last summer, and I think 10 or 11 went to St Cadoc's.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily enough, we got a couple of them boys back. So we did. We got a few we wanted back. They were quite loyal to Glenafton, so we're lucky that aspect. And recruitment-wise, we've not turned a blind eye to any level either. We know there's good players out there at all levels, and it's been difficult as well with no games. We've had to scour loads of footage in YouTube and whatnot, trying to see players, and you hear about players word of mouth as well from boys you trust, like players you bring in, you ask them. That's like the boy Sam McKee we brought in. We got a young boy, David Blythe, who's Craig Pettigrew knows quite well, who we brought back, and word of mouth, David Blythe's good pals with Sam McKee, and we brought him in, been doing great. So stuff like that, you've got to network properly.
Yeah, definitely. What's the hopes and expectations for this season? How do you see the season going?
You don't want to do too much talking. We want to go into every game trying to win every game. At the end of the day, whoever we play, we're going to try and win. We're going to try and be competitive as we can. Obviously, they're not going to win every game. There's a 20-team league, 38 league games. You just take each game as it comes. It's all cliche, but we're going to try and win every game. That's it. Try and be competitive and see where it takes you. You don't want to make any big bold predictions. Let other sides do the talking, and we'll quietly go along, see where it takes us.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for coming on, Brian. Best of luck for the season ahead.
Right. Cheers, my man. Thank you.
Cheers. We're now moving on to Darvel, obviously the talking team in the West this season. Lochlin, you've written a lot of their headlines. Tell us why Darvel are the team to watch this season, in your opinion.
I've watched a lot of Darvel over the last couple of years, and they're an impressive team. You know, they love just kind of playing football, and it's the way they play. It really is. It's easy to watch, and it's good. The thing is, though, at this level, sometimes that doesn't get you anywhere. You know, when you're going to the likes of your Rutherglins and a Wednesday night on a horrible wee park and stuff. You know, so it just depends how they all blend. But you know, Mick Kennedy, he's a great manager, and he's had a lot of success before when he was at Colville Park. So he knows how to win, and he knows. You know, they've signed the likes of Craig Moore for United, and Andy Stirling, who was at Stranraer and Queen of the South and stuff. So they've recruited well, and I just think they're just kind of really good, and I think they will be up there. I think it'll be between them and Talbot when it comes to the sharp end of the season.
Lochlin mentioned there about signing Craig Moore. Shankers, how big a signing is that for Darvel?
I think first and foremost, it shows the ambition that Darvel's got to be able to attract Craig Moore for United to one of the few full-time teams in the country. To attract them to Darvel just shows that ambition that Mick and the club have got, and fair play to them. I mean, you can say anything you want about money, etc. When it has to come down to the club's ambition to attract somebody with that quality to them to be able to. They're obviously, Mick, we spoke to Mick before, and he gave a 5-year plan, and for Craig to be able to be attracted to Darvel, there must be somewhere in that 5-year plan he goes, right, I want to be there and I want to be there with this club. And Lochlin mentioned Andy Stirling as well, who I know that Darvel wouldn't be the only team. He would have had plenty of options to stay senior, so attracting him to Darvel as well is, along with the players that they already had, like Darryl Megget, Willie Robertson, players like that, they've got quality all over the pitch. So they had day 2 signings, and it's no an overhaul. They've kept the majority of their squad for before and added 1 or 2, and I think that's really important. That you're not just getting promoted. A lot of teams get promoted and then get rid of a lot and sign 10, 15 new players, but it's not that. They've kept, because the squad that they had in the league below was good enough to play in the top division anyway. So they had 1 or 2 experienced players who have dropped out seniors. Is definitely ambitious for Darvel, and as Lochlin says, if they're no up there or thereabouts challenging, then I'll eat my heart.
Not to waffle, but I think I want to see that, by the way.
No, they are.
I think a big thing with Darvel is what they're doing off the park as well. You know,
Yep.
Look at their changing rooms. They're on par with like Wembley. Like it's just incredible, and you know they're building they've relayed their part totally. So that's
I've seen the picture. Looks good.
No, in the country probably, and you know they're building hospitality suites. So it's not as if they're just ploughing money in. Oh, we'll try and get up the leagues.
Yeah, it's not just the players and the playing squad that's getting invested in. It's outside the squad, and when you're going up the divisions, that's what you have to do to meet all the criteria and stuff like that. So, the clubs, I'm very ambitious, and I'm sure they will be. Normally, sides, Darvel's obviously a newly promoted side. I take out last season, they're a newly promoted side, and it's going to be their first full season. And normally, when you're promoted, they're just happy to stay in the division, but they're coming up, they get promoted, and they're looking to go again. So that just shows the ambition that they've got, and it'll be interesting to see how they do.
Definitely. I spoke to Darvel manager Mick Kennedy about his thoughts and expectations for Darvel this season. So we're joined by the current Darvel manager, Mick Kennedy. Mick, it's a pleasure to welcome you on. Thanks for joining us.
Well, Scott, thanks for inviting me on again, mate. Hope you're well.
Brilliant. How's the season going? How's the preparation for the season going? Are you ready to get started?
Aye, it's been typical pre-season, to be fair. Some boys missing for injuries, coming back and stuff like that. So it's been a bit unsettled, but it's been relatively successful. But ultimately, it's just about getting some game time in people's legs and stuff like that, especially not playing a competitive game for probably around about January time. So it's probably taking a wee bit longer to get the boys into a sort of settled routine and back into sort of near enough match sharpness for the season start. But it's been okay, mate. We've not really concentrated too much on results. It's more about just getting people ready.
Yeah, definitely. What's obviously you're looking for the stadiums kind of getting into order for the season. How excited are you to finally get fans back in it?
I think for us it's exciting because we've seen quite a significant change. Obviously, we've put in a brand new SPL grass park, so Highet's grown as we speak. So it's looking really good. There'll be a lot of new changes. So I'm looking forward to the fans coming back and seeing that, to be fair. But ultimately, it's important to get them back in the ground and back supporting the team. I think MD, who took part in football last year at this level, would agree that I don't think we realised how big a miss the fans would be in terms of the dynamics it would have been affecting the game. But it's been a massive, massive issue. And hopefully by the time we start back on the 17th this month, that there's fans still allowed back in, and then as we progress through the next few months, the numbers grow and we can get large crowds back into the ground. So I'm sure the communities are really looking forward to get back and supporting their local clubs.
Definitely. What sort of changes have been made to the squad? Obviously, Craig Moore's a kind of big signing, but what's the kind of other big changes that have been made?
Aye, so there's about 8 moved on, to be fair, and we've brought in a few. Obviously, Craig Moore being one of them. Andy Stirling, who's another fantastic piece of business for the club. But we'd also signed about Harry Monaghan back in December to come back for Australia. Had been at Hibs and stuff like that, but we didn't get an opportunity to play him. So that's like a new signing. We brought in a new goalkeeper, Lyle, and there's been one or two others, Mark and Ali and stuff like that. So the squad's looking strong. We've made changes that we felt we had to make, and we're looking forward to the season ahead. Unfortunately, part of football is some people have to move on, and some of the boys will be missed, but ultimately we need to keep moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned when you were on the show with us a few months ago that you had a 5-year plan. How important is it to get up and running kind of this season? The first full season you're in the top flight. How important is it to hit the ground running straight away?
Listen, part of that plan was always, there was a plan on the park and a plan off the park. And off the park, that plan's continued to work over the last sort of year. To be fair, we've obviously got a licence now. We're putting a brand new park. There's other infrastructure things that have changed. So the plan after the park's been implemented and will continue to be implemented. Where it stagnated a wee bit is obviously on the park, because obviously we didn't get the season finished. So it's good to get back into that. I'm looking forward to the season ahead. As I said, our 5-year plan was to be in the SPL by then. I know everybody expects it. I think there's real pressure on us to win the league this year. And there is internal pressure in terms of if we want to have a successful club. But ultimately, as I say, within 5 years, we want to find ourselves hopefully in the SPL too. But we're very aware of how difficult that will be and the challenges ahead, because some of the quality that's already within the league. But we're looking forward to getting the football side of things moving now.
Definitely. What's your hopes and expectations for the season? Are you confident you can get up towards the top of the table?
Yeah, listen, I wouldn't sit here and kid on. I think there's an aspiration within the club to try and win the league. But I think there's other people with the same aspirations as us. I've said it many times, there's a lot of quality within that league, and we'll wish people up there challenging who you would always assume Auchinleck and Collins and Pollocks and clubs like that. Clydebank obviously had a really good season last year as well, and there'll obviously be one or two just sitting outside that. So there'll be loads and loads of competition, but our plan is to try and win the league. But that's not being disrespectful. It's certainly an aspiration, but we know how hard it will be and how difficult it will be. I think everybody's natural favourites before a ball will kick will be Auchinleck, and they deserve that for the success the club's had over the years. They've retained that core of their players, and the other clubs in a bit have also improved their squads as well. So it'll be a really, really competitive league. I think it'll be challenging. As I say, I've got a lot of respect for other clubs who are within it, with the sort of bigger clubs who have got aspirations to win it as well, and I think it'll be really challenging. But we want to try and win it if we can, mate. That's the expectations within the club.
Brilliant. Best of luck for the season, Matt. All the best. Thanks for coming on.
No worries, mate. Happy.
Thank you.
Anytime, mate.
Move on to Troon. Troon managed last season during the kind of phantom season to really improve, but lost a lot of key players like Sir Ryan Stevenson's gone. Lochlin, how big a miss is he going to be?
Oh, he's a great player, especially for this level. You watch him, he just controls the game. You know, he really is. He's top quality, and it's hard to replace a player like that. You know, with that quality, because you rely on a bit of loyalty for a player like that to come to somebody like Troon. No disrespect to them in any way, obviously, but for a player of that kind of stature and level to play with Troon, they need to have a bit of loyalty. So it's hard to replace somebody like that.
Definitely. Shankers, what should Troon be aiming for this season?
I think it's a difficult one. As you said, losing Ryan Stevenson. They've lost Dean Keenan's playing side of it. He's not playing anymore. He's just going to be, I think he's is he manager or assistant manager?
Assistant manager.
Assistant manager now. So I think he's still going to be there in some capacity, but obviously he's a good player as well. So losing him to the playing side is massive. So it will be interesting to see how it goes. And I'm sure if it doesn't go too well, Dino will be long and getting the bits back on and getting involved. And I know him really well, and he's one of the players that if you're playing for him, you want to do well for him, because he loves football. He loves everything about it. He just loves the game, and he's one of the guys that you want to see doing well in football, because he what he puts into it. But it will be difficult this season without him and without the quality of Ryan Stevenson as well. But they've got some good players that are in the side, like Dean Fulton. I really like him. He's one of the players. And Troon's always been able to attract good young forward players, and they're an ambitious club as well. The Troon, they've got a great pitch, great facilities and everything. So they'll be one of the ones that's probably looking to make the step up when they can, if things are right.
Definitely. I spoke to Dean Keenan, the assistant manager of Troon, about his thoughts and expectations going into this season. So we're joined by Troon's assistant manager, Dean Keenan. Dean, it's a pleasure to welcome you on. Thanks for joining us.
No worries, Scott. Pleased to be on. Cheers for having me.
No worries. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well. Just in work at the moment, unfortunately, but not too bad other than that.
Brilliant. You've brought an end to a really good playing career. How are you going to feel not being able to go in the park anymore?
I'll need to cross that bridge when it comes to it, but it'll be hard. I must be honest, it'll be hard. It's been a tough couple of weeks with the decision that I had to make, and thankfully I've got some good people around about me. But it'll be hard once the games come around that I'm not able to get out.
Yeah, definitely. How excited are you for the season to start?
Can't wait. It's been a long time coming. Stop-start for a long time now. So yeah, we're excited. Final preparations coming up in the next couple of weeks in terms of games and training, and then that'll be us ready to go for a league opener away to go win it.
Brilliant. What's pre-season been like? How hard's it been to get the players back into shape?
It's been a bit of mix and match. Pretty similar probably to every other club. The biggest thing, Scott, was to try and make sure that everybody was enjoying being back at football firstly. After time out, but pre-seasons it serves its purpose. But it's more games. We need games quickly, because that's where we'll get most of the fitness from. Yeah,
definitely. Obviously, last season was a bit stop-start with the no fans as well. How excited are you to welcome fans back to Portland Park?
Yeah, it'll be good. They'll be behind the dugout and cheering us on, I'm sure, with the brand new squad that we've got. And last year it was good to be playing football. Very lucky to be playing football through the pandemic, but that is definitely nothing without the fans.
Yeah, definitely. What changes have you made to the squad?
We really stripped the spine of our squad, unfortunately. Lost Ross Lundy's. We've lost him at the moment due to work commitments and goals, and then Marcel and James McGowan at centre half, Ryan Stevenson through the middle, Jordan Morton. So that was a real spine in terms of quality of our side. So that's been ripped out. So we've had to try and replace that. And it was always going to be difficult, like for like, but we're more than delighted with the squad that we've assembled so far and the changes that we've made.
Brilliant. Final question, what's the hopes and expectations for Troon this season? How do you see it going?
To be honest with you, Scott, I make no apology for saying it. Our main goal this year is to stay in this league. There's 7 teams getting relegated.
Aye.
It's going to be cutthroat. There's going to be a lot of big teams that are going to be around about the bottom of that league, especially given the format that the league potentially, given the COVID restrictions, etc., could be decided after 19 games. So it's imperative that we get a good start. Obviously, the fixture list hasn't been kind to us. I don't know how they've managed to work it, but one home game on a Saturday in the first, I think, 6 or 7 weeks of the season's pretty unacceptable, to be honest. And as a club, we feel a bit aggrieved by that. So the fixtures haven't been kind, but certainly they were a bit kinder for the so-called bigger teams, you shall say. But whether that's a bit of politics involved or whether that's just the fixture man and the fixture computer playing up, then I'll refuse to comment.
Brilliant. Best of luck for the season, Dean. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on.
No worries, Scott. All the best.
Thanks very much, mate. Cheers. We'll move on to Cumbernauld, another team who have got up to the top flight. Shankers, what's the thoughts for Cumbernauld? A tough start to last season. Can they improve on that?
I think they've got a new manager and Tony Fraser. Actually, one of my best pals plays with Cumbernauld, Clark Thompson, and he was saying about how they struggled. They lost a good few boys last year, but I think with the new manager coming in, he was at Rutherglen for plenty years, and I think with him taking the step into management, he might be able to attract a few more players. Obviously, with Cumbernauld losing some players, we've signed Danny Boyle. I'm sure Danny Boyle's the captain there now. He was at us for a spell. He's been at Pollock. He's been at Darvel for a spell. He's been running a bit all the kind of top sides in the old juniors, junior divisions. So his experience at the back will be key for them if they've got anything to say and stay up this season. But I think it could be a tough one for Cumbernauld. Every point will be vital for them this season.
Lochlin, what's your thoughts on Cumbernauld this season?
I think realistically, Cumbernauld, I think they're going to be one of the teams, at risk of, when half the league's going down. We're going back to this again, this potentially 8 teams. It's a big talking point though, isn't it? Half the league getting relegated because it's so bizarre. But I think realistically, Cumbernauld will struggle to climb out of that kind of bottom 7, bottom 8. Just kind of based on how they went last season. I think it will be quite tough for them, to be honest.
Definitely. I spoke to Cumbernauld manager Tony Fraser about the upcoming season ahead. So we're joined by the Cumbernauld manager Tony Fraser. Tony, it's a pleasure to welcome you on the show. Thanks very much for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
No worries. How you been?
Tired.
How excited are you for the season to kick off?
I knew that we're right into pre-season. Everybody's just kind of itching now for proper action. It's been good to get back into training, back into friendlies, but nothing beats the thrill when there's points up for grabs. So the kind of boys are just itching for it, especially when the fixtures are there as well now. So players are just buzzing to go. Management team are ready to go as well. So bring it on now.
Brilliant. What was it like last season having no fans, and how excited are you to welcome them back?
It was pointless, to be honest. I mean, fans are always crucial to the game, but I think especially at this level, not just for the income that they bring in for clubs. I mean, the clubs need fans for income, but I think at this level, the fans are a different breed. See, just the banter, because you hear everything. I mean, you hear every shout, every good shout, but probably more the negative shouts. Probably the funniest thing I always remember. I mean, when I was at Glencairn, the games were always recorded. When I used to watch it back with the sound off because the fans were just unbelievable. They would just be slaughtering the players constantly. But you miss it when it's not there.
Aye, definitely. What's pre-season been like? What's it been like trying to get the team back into shape for the new season?
It's probably been easiest because we're not having anything. Players have came back in probably the best condition they've ever came back in because they've all been doing 5Ks, 10Ks.
Yeah.
So we've not had to focus on kind of getting the work into their lungs and stuff. It's more just about getting them kind of game ready, more sharpness. What we've more spent most of our pre-season doing more interval type running and training, just everything game related, because generally their fitness levels were all very, very good. We done a test when they came back in just to see where they were at, and they were all probably better than where we expected them to be. So they all came back in good condition. They had nothing else to do but run.
Definitely. What kind of changes you made to the squad?
Wholesale. When I took the job, and then George had said, "Do you want to come in and meet the players?" And I said, "Aye." And he came in, and there was an empty dressing room there.
Aye.
There was 4 players from last season. They hadn't signed yet, and then there was a player on loan from another club, which obviously I couldn't do anything about. So there was nothing signed when I went in. But that night, the 4 players that were there from the season before, they re-signed, and then we just kicked on from there. We just kind of mapped out where we had to go, which was every position. We had to go and target every position, and we just kind of went about slowly. We just kind of drifted in. We got contacts out, get players in, and then it took a wee while to get the first one in, and then you had a wee roll.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe you don't get the first couple, but then you get the next 3, 4, 5, and then you miss a couple, and then they come in. But we're sitting good now. We're up around about the 20 mark, so we're really, really pleased about where we are. But I said we'll always be looking. If we can add, then we can add.
Definitely. What's the kind of hopes and expectations for the season? How do you see the season going?
Well, it's a difficult season. Well, obviously, it'll be difficult with 7 teams going down, which is just a ridiculous situation. I mean, somebody can have a good, decent season, finish 7th bottom and get relegated. It's crazy stuff. But listen, I think out with probably 4 or 5 teams within that league who will be trying to win it. Everybody else will just be trying to finish as high up as they can. And we're in that group. We're not going to kid ourselves that we're going to go and challenge for the league, because we're not. So we're in the group with everybody else. I mean, we just take out like kind of Pollocks, Talbot, Darvels, Cowans and Clydebanks, and then everybody else is in the same boat. So we'll just go for that, and we've just set the players a target of just going and finish as high as we can.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for coming on, Tony. Best of luck for the season ahead.
No problem. Thank you very much.
And that is us for part 3, where we took a look at Glenafton, Darvel, Troon and Cumbernauld. We'll be back tomorrow. We will take a look at Pollock, Hurlford, Benburb and Blantyre Vicks. Shankers, Lochlin, thanks very much for joining me again, and we'll see everyone tomorrow. Cheers.